Well, what do you know about that? You believe I got this thing in here on my first try? I mean, I've been backing up trailers for the better parts of 2 decades here, but I mean, that was a tight squeeze. I didn't think I was going to get it in here, but there she sits anyway. Got her home and got her in the shop. It's about a week and a half later now from the last clip you saw there where I was pulling into the driveway with this beast. And in that time, I did get the master and slave replaced on my truck. I was able to knock that out in about an hour. And so far, that seems like that was the issue. Sorry about that. My neighbor's out collecting leaves for about the 10th time this fall, but can't blame them. As soon as you get rid of them, they're back. But that's why I stopped trying to sweep them out of the yard, I guess. But anyway. Yeah, so far so good with the master and slave cylinder replacement for the clutch there. As you probably heard, she was making some nasty noises when I was backing up to this camper for the first time there, and I don't know, I thought I was going to have to put a clutch in the truck, to be honest with you. On the drive home, I mean, even now, it shifts just fine going between gears, and after I replaced the master and slave, I mean, at a standstill, it goes into first, reverse, second, no problem. But yeah, when I was driving it home, if I was at a standstill, the clutch was just not disengaging. And looking at the slave cylinder on the truck there, you could see I wasn't getting the full throw out of the rod. So just picked up a new set from AutoZone and slapped it in there, and hopefully she'll be good for a while. But anywhoozy, I'm gonna wait till my neighbor's done mulching his leaves here, and then we'll take a good look at this thing, go over it, tell you what my plan is for it. And I haven't done much to it yet thus far, just pressure washed the exterior and you know, kind of gave it a good look, kind of evaluated what I was going to have to do. And of course, you know, after I brought it home, shit started getting a little bit more serious. I need to learn to look at stuff thoroughly before I buy it. But yeah, it's nothing that we can't fix, but we'll get into that here in a little bit, so hang tight. So I could barely budge this thing before, but now I must have it balanced just about perfect, and it just rolls like it doesn't weigh anything at all. So my plan here was to get this tucked back into the corner. I made quite a bit of room back there so I could still get my truck in here. The other truck anyway. With winter coming up and everything, I just absolutely hate having stuff sitting outside, especially if it's not on concrete. I mean, if I had asphalt or concrete surrounding the shop here, it wouldn't be so bad, but with just grass and gravel and everything, it never dries up, and all that moisture just totally just destroys frames, wreaks havoc on anything that's not rust proofed. So I try to keep everything inside as much as I can. So that's kind of the goal here. So we're going to try and get this turned sideways, pushed back in the corner up against the F-150, and believe it or not, there will still somehow be enough room in here to get the F-250 in. Okay, I know I've said it before, but I'm officially a hoarder and I officially have a problem. God, you guys, you can't let me buy any more shit. This is just getting out of control. But I guess the upshot of all this is I can still get the F-250 in here. And I mean, there's not going to be any room whatsoever to work on anything, but that's okay. I can back the truck out for a day when I have to. And then it's at least not sitting outside all winter long, just rusting way worse than it already is. And to be honest, I guess a lot of this stuff I could probably work into some of the sheds outside and everything. It's not vital that it's in here, but anyway, I can't believe that that fits back there and that I'll actually have room to get the truck in here. But God, forgive me, I'm just a little bit amazed that that actually fits. But let's take a closer look at it. I mean, I'll be honest, diamond in the rough is kind of sugarcoating things here, but you know how it is, we never shy away from a challenge. Worst case scenario, it sits here for a year and then I sell it for twice what I paid for it, so. Or maybe even more. I cannot believe what some people are willing to pay for these things these days. It's absolutely absurd. But, I'll just come out and tell you, I paid $500 for this one, which upon initial inspection, really, I mean, didn't seem like a terrible price, but after going over it with a fine-tooth comb, I mean, you know, it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. I really hope that I follow through on it and finish restoring it, because I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. And geez, you know, I've been waiting for about 45 minutes here, and that lawnmower finally shut off. And what do you know? It's back on. All right, let's have a look at this old girl, shall we? Gonna be a little bit of excess noise in here, and just turn down the old Modine. Getting kind of chilly in here, but just bear with me. So I'm not 100% sure what year this is. I know it's early 1960s. I'm like 90% sure it's early 1960s. There's a Layton travel trailer expert watching this by chance. Let me know if you think differently, but I'm pretty sure, and I'll say it a third time, that it's early 1960s. But the identification tag on the frame is too far gone to read. It's over here on this side there. It's so corroded, there's no chance that I'll be able to read that. I will probably try and clean it up as best I can, but I don't have high hopes for that. So for now, we'll just say early 1960s. Of course, all of the window seals are gone out of it. You know, all of the, I don't know what you'd want to call it, the sealing or trim around the edges, that all needs to be resealed. It has been repainted, painted white. After I pressure washed it, it really didn't look too bad, or doesn't look too bad. Not too many dings in the side of it, in the outside aluminum. The outside aluminum isn't too corroded either. That was something that I was looking at least along the bottoms. A lot of the other campers that I was looking at were, you know, pretty chewed up along the bottom. All the way around the outside from, you know, whatever road salt, or just, like I said earlier, years of sitting out in the moisture. The door is pretty jacked up on it. I have one broken pane of glass there. Someone just retrofit an actual doorknob on here. They didn't do it, actually, it didn't do a terrible job of doing that. I'm gonna redo it, obviously, and clean it up a little bit. Get this off of here, you know, fill in the holes and everything. I want to try and, I mean, you know, do as detailed of a job as I can. It's going to be watertight and it's going to be usable. That's sort of what I'm going for here. I like the way that these things were built. I like the way they look. Primarily, I think I just have an attraction to them because I spent a large portion of my childhood in one. I shouldn't say that. I didn't grow up living in a trailer or anything like that. You know, I guess not that there's anything wrong with that either, but my parents and I, well, my parents and my brother and I, we all stayed in a 1962 Yellowstone camper, a real short one. I think it was probably about 14 feet front to back, and that was our little getaway for the weekends when I was a kid. My parents picked it up from the original owner, and it was parked at the property where their retirement house is now. And years back, probably about 8 years ago now, for some reason my dad sold it. I'm not sure why he did that. And I mean, really just gave it away for what these things are going for now. He sold it for $500, which is what I paid for this one. And that one was in a hell of a lot better condition than this one is. But anyway, yeah, that's why I've been looking for an older style travel trailer instead of a new one. And I am happy that I found one with this overhang on it. I was worried about towing it with the truck and everything and hitting the tailgate because the truck is so lifted, but this one cleared it just fine. I looked at one a couple weeks ago where the distance between the tongue and the overhang was much shorter. Alright, I was rambling on there. Had to go take a call for work. Probably good that I got cut off, otherwise I'd still be talking about nonsense. But anyway, let's go have a closer look at this thing. Just pulled the tarps off the top of it, and I was surprised at how much water was still sitting up there on top of the tarps. Just rained yesterday, but figured I should at least try and throw some tarps over the top of it, because I'm sure the roof leaks. The guy that had it said he didn't think the roof leaked that bad, but guarantee you it leaks pretty bad. Oh, what the heck did I do with my light here? There we go. So if I didn't mention it already, and I'm sure I did, but this is a Layton made by the Skyline Travel Trailer Company. Still in business today. Still putting out RVs every year, but yeah, God. Bear with me. It's not going to be the best tour, but I'll try and give you somewhat of an idea of what we're working with here. So there's not much of a ceiling left in it. I mean, it's all there, but it all needs to be torn out. It does have this back bunk here. It's a bed up there. Still has the ladder in here. That's kind of cool. The bottom folds into a couch. But yeah, that folds out into a bed, I should say. Actually have a spare tire in there that I forgot about. Could have used that earlier today. Yeah, that's the water tank down there underneath the couch, bed, whatever you want to call it. That's going to get torn out, thrown away more than likely. At least I think that's the water tank. I don't know what else that would be. It's got to be the water tank. There is no bathroom in here, so there's no like black water tank to deal with. That I'm pretty happy about because, you know, don't want to be dealing with years of old, you know, and other people's waste. So that's kind of gross. But yeah, happy I don't have to deal with that. What else we got going on in here? It does have a furnace. Not sure if it works. Not sure if any of the appliances work. You know, what kind is that? I don't even know. Duotherm. Never heard of that before, but I'm sure there's some rodent friends packed in there that we'll have to evict. That'll be a good time. Got a thermostat over here on the wall for it. Haven't had it hooked up to electrical, so don't know if the electrical works or not. I'm sure some of it does. Got one overhead light there. And this is the cool part. I love the overhang in this thing. It's kind of like, you know, it's like a fifth wheel before fifth wheels were a thing. So that will probably end up being the main sleeping area for my wife and I that we'll use. I don't know what's going to happen with this area back here. Probably just end up being storage for all of our crap. And then there's a little dinette. This is all going to get torn out. Well, it'll actually get torn down to the frame, and I'll show you why here in a minute. It does have an actual gas lantern, propane light up there. That's definitely going to get saved. I was super excited when I saw that. A lot of the older campers that I was looking at didn't have those in, or did have those in there at one time, but were torn out. That was kind of a must-have for me, just because the Yellowstone that I was talking about earlier, that's one of my earliest memories, is that propane lantern in that old camper. And there's our sink, our nice Smurf blue sink, and the 3-burner range. Again, not sure if this works, but if it doesn't, I will make it work. I'm sure I'll be able to get it working. If it's not working and if it's too far gone, we'll just end up replacing it with something. But no oven in here. That's not a big deal for me. Just happy to have the 3-burner gas range. And this was kind of a bummer for me when I realized it, but the fridge is actually just an ice box. It's not electric or propane.
I was really hoping to have a propane fridge. So that's the one thing probably that is going to get taken out and replaced with a new fridge. I will end up just buying a new fridge unless I can find a propane electric fridge on Marketplace or something like that to use in here, because I do want to be able to run the refrigerator off of propane, but I don't even know if I can get this open. Give you a good look in there. But yeah, see, there's no there's nothing in here. It's just it's an ice box. It's a cooler, so, which, I mean, isn't the worst thing in the world, but since I'm gonna have propane, I'd rather just have a fridge that runs off propane than have to worry about having ice bottles and stuff like that all the time. But other than that, there's just a lot of storage everywhere. Like I said, there's no bathroom, which isn't a bad thing. I've looked through just about every cabinet in here and haven't found any mouse nests. I mean, there's mouse droppings everywhere, which is to be expected, but no actual nests. Where is the electric ad in here? I forget. I think is it in this one? Yeah, so there's our breaker box up there. Haven't had a look at that, but again, because I'm going to have to gut this whole thing, we'll more than likely just end up redoing the electrical too. What else can I show you? That's kind of about it in here for now. I mean, the rest of it, it's just, you know, dirty storage cabinets, not really anything to look at. But you can kind of get an idea of what we're working with here. And again, I apologize for the lighting. It's not the best situation, but just trying to sort of get a video together here and throw it up so you guys know what to expect here in the future. I know it seems like I'm constantly bouncing around from project to project, because I am, but, you know, it is what it is. Lots of cool stuff going on, always finding good deals on Marketplace. Hard to leave them behind. And this is the kind of craziness that you end up with. But let's get to the bad. Yeah, I know, and if that was the good that we just looked at, how bad is the bad, right? Well, just hold on to your socks. Okay, so I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it, but there's the problems that I was talking about. This whole frame rail from the spring perch back to the rear bumper is just rotted out, and you can see kind of all along the bottom how it's split and just rotten and just gone. But I have tools, I know how to weld, so I'm not super worried about it. It is fixable, not ideal. I wish I would have looked at that closer, and you're probably saying, well, Jesus, Cody, look at the size of that hole. How'd you miss that? It wasn't that big when I looked at it. I've been in here with a body hammer. There, now you can see it a little bit better. But yeah, I've been in here with the body hammer, just tapping everywhere, knocking off the loose stuff, trying to see how bad it really is. And it looks bad, but it's not. I mean, it could be worse. I've fixed worse. I've got some tubing here that should work. I probably won't even have to order much metal. But I mean, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So we're going to take it down to the frame, fix that, and then basically just rebuild the inside. So that's really going to be the longest part of this project, is just fixing the frame and then getting the outside sealed up well enough so that it doesn't leak. Rebuilding the inside really isn't going to take all that long, or it shouldn't take all that long. I mean, I'm sure it's going to take a while, just based on the amount of time that I have to work on everything. But just speaking in terms of the whole project, that's going to be the bulk of the work, is just taking care of the rotten parts of the frame and then sealing up the outside. But I am a little bit worried about that rear spring perch. It's going to take a little bit of engineering to get that to work, or at least get it to the point that I'm satisfied with it, that I feel comfortable towing it down the road. You know, it's not necessary, but God, you probably can't see this all that well. Just bear with me. I know I've said that a million times, but I wouldn't mind putting a new axle on this. I would at least like to flip it so I can get a little bit more ground clearance here, and by that I mean put the springs on top of the axle. So in an ideal world, I would put new springs on this, get a new axle, which, you know, probably running somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 to $2,500 to do all that. And that might be a little bit on the high end, but it's totally doable. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do. But it's just going to come down to whether or not I want to spend the money. And I guess a lot of that depends on what we run into in the demo process. But as far as I can tell, on the frame, that back section that we just looked at there, it's only about 3 feet long. That is the worst part here. The rest of this can just be needle scaled. I'll hit it with rust converter and then seal it up real well, and shouldn't be that big of a deal. There is one other spot, maybe you can see that, maybe you can't, hard to say, but that little spot right there is actually where the mount for the step going up to the door hits the frame, and that's actually tearing away from the frame there, so that will have to be welded. I'll probably weld it and then put some sort of a gusset in the corner there just to add a little bit more stability. I'm kind of a big boy, so don't want to cause any more damage, but other than that, it actually looks pretty good down here. I'll probably end up putting a oh god, getting old. I'll more than likely end up putting a new rubber roof on here. The roof, I'm probably not going to crawl up there and show it to you right now, but it's pretty wavy like this. So it's going to need probably a little additional bracing from the inside, and then on the outside, I don't know, I hate dealing with water leaks, so I'm going to try and seal it up as well as I can without going overboard. I might put some sort of like elastomeric sealing down over top of what's already there, and then put rubber roof over top of that. Or I will just end up putting rubber roofing over without sealing what's there first. I'm not 100% sure as to what the best thing to do would be there, but I'm going to order some rolls of butyl tape, and we'll pull all the window frames off and reseal all of those. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to be 100% honest, I'm probably not going to paint the outside. It would be kind of cool to throw some sort of retro looking paint on there. I think initially this had sort of like a zigzag going down, and it was two-tone, one color on top, one color on the bottom. But I'll have to scour the internet and see if I can come up with some pictures of maybe what these looked like originally. But yeah, more or less that's pretty much it. So that's the latest thing that brought home to do some work on, and hopefully here I will stop bringing projects home and actually start working on them. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for now. I just kind of wanted to give you somewhat of a solid intro. I know not the best with the lighting in there right now, but once the daylight comes back, we'll come back out into the shop and probably get started on the demo. I at least want to get the nasty, musty old cushions out of there and get those thrown out, and then sort of start developing a game plan. And by developing a game plan, I mean just start ripping and tearing. So, thanks for clicking on my video, guys. Hopefully it kind of piqued your interest and you'll stay with me through the project. Appreciate you watching, and I guess we'll see you in the next one.